Hey guys, Utor100 here. Alright, and now here I am with another Land Before Time review. With a review for The Land Before Time 6, The Secret of Sorus Rock. So, when this movie came out, this was like when I was like becoming disinterested in the Land Before Time movies. Like after this, I really was not very interested in the films anymore, but I continued like to follow them as they were being released still during this time. Yeah, like I said before, I like continue to follow these movies up until the eighth film, and then that's when I like stopped watching them when they were released. So yeah, but yeah, after like the fifth movie, I was like really becoming disinterested in any of the other sequels. So yeah, by that you can probably guess that I really wasn't like very crazy for this film when it came out, and even now, I mean, yeah, I'm still really not like I'm not really like that interested in this film now either. Like I don't know, I mean, it's not like anything like absolutely horrible or anything, but yeah, it's really not one of my favorites to be honest. I mean, I it's just kind of like yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just really am not really very like interested in what this movie does. I mean, yeah, this movie is like kind of has like a western tone to it. Yeah, I'm really not a big fan of westerns, so yeah, I guess that's probably one of the reasons why this film really isn't one of my favorites. And because I'm not really a western fan. I mean, if they're like this, if you're a western fan, you probably would like this movie a lot more than how I feel about it. But yeah, as somebody who really isn't a western fan, I really don't care for this movie very much. I mean, I guess the message that this movie sends is actually a pretty good message. The message this movie is basically saying is just like there's a hero in your family and you should recognize who the hero is. So yeah, I guess like it does have a good message in that sense. But yeah, the film itself, it's just kind of like so. I mean, yeah, it's really not as intriguing as the first five films. It's just like, yeah, really just, yeah, not one of my favorite Land Before Time movies. Yeah, I would probably give this, I don't know, 2.5 stars out of 4. Yeah, just like a real thumbs in the middle kind of movie. Yeah, pretty much like this movie does still have like the recurring voice cast from the previous film. Yeah, you still have like the same actors voicing like the kids and most of the adults and stuff. Yeah, but in this film, like Littlefoot's voice just sounds really off. Like it just doesn't sound like it's the same person voicing Littlefoot as it was in Mysterious Island. Like in this film, Littlefoot's voice just seems like a lot higher than it was before. Or, yeah, it just kind of just Littlefoot's voice just doesn't sound right in this film. So and yeah, we still do have like the other cast in this film like returning to reprise roles. Like Sarah, Ducky, and Peachy are still voiced by the same actors, and yeah, you of course like do have Kenneth Mars, of course, reprising the role as Littlefoot's grandpa, and yeah, you still have like other cast members reprising their roles as the adults. Yeah, and in this film, like this does have like a few like new main characters in this. Like this film, of course, does have like the like mysterious long neck like Doc in this film, who was voiced by Chris Christopherson or Christopherson, however it's pronounced. Yeah, and of course, like he's kind of like a Western star, so yeah, I guess it was a clever choice to get him to provide a voice in this film. And you also like in this film, you do have like a couple of the other supporting characters, like there are like infant twins in Dana and Dino who are like portrayed as Sarah's nieces in this film. I'm not sure if Sarah actually is their aunt in this film or not. Yeah, but yeah, they're also like a addition in this film. Like, I think this is the only film that they actually do appear in. And so yeah, a couple of like new characters introduced in this film, and yeah, pretty basically like yeah, along with the recurring characters also. So yeah, I guess like it does have a decent cast to it. And the songs in this film, this is the first film where the songs are I really cannot really remember that well. I mean, the only song I really do kind of remember is the Lone Dinosaur song Littlefoot sings, and even that, I mean, I really don't think is even really like that catchy or anything. So yeah, this is where like the songs like do kind of like become really unmemorable, I think. So yeah, as you can probably tell, like based on how I've talked about the first five films, this one is kind of like a drop down from the first five. So yeah, I think so far this one has been the worst of the series so far. That's how I feel about it. So yeah, I think I've talked about it enough. Yeah, if I continue on, I'll probably just like be talking like pretty negatively on this film compared to the first five. So yeah, let me just get right into the film. All right, so the film just opens up with like Littlefoot's grandpa just telling the kids a tale about well, a figure known as the Lone Dinosaur. And the Lone Dinosaur was like a brave Longneck who was like protecting the Great Valley from any type of danger, and it shows like the lone dinosaur was like fighting off like as Littlefoot's grandpa said, the most ferocious sharp-tooth to ever live, and when I look at that sharp-tooth, it just like kind of reminds me of Chomper's dad or the sharp-tooth from the first film. Like it looks like basically just like them. So yeah, it just kind of seems like deja vu. Yeah. And it shows like in this fight, like the sharp tooth ends up like scratching the lone dinosaur in the face, and basically like ends up forming a scar on the side of the lone dinosaur's face, like just like right across the eye. Yeah. And then yeah, eventually like the lone dinosaur eventually ends up killing the sharp tooth. Yeah. And then it like the Littlefoot's grandpa then like explains like shortly after that event, then like an earthquake then hit, and then it showed like a monolith like coming out of the ground, and it ended up kind of like just resembling a long neck with like life-size shark-tooth teeth around the neck, and it was all like in the form of rocks. And so then the dinosaurs then referred to that as Sorus Rock. And Littlefoot's grandpa then was just saying that the legend states that if Sorus Rock was ever damaged, then bad luck would then end up descending upon all of the Great Valley. And then Littlefoot was then like just like really intrigued by the legend. Then Littlefoot just ended up like becoming obsessed with the lone dinosaur tale, and he had a dream like that he was the lone dinosaur. Then the next day, as the kids are playing, they end up like pretty much playing Lone Dinosaur with Littlefoot as the Lone Dinosaur. Littlefoot like ends up like accidentally falling off a cliff, but then he ended up being saved by like another Longneck who was just like a really mysterious Diplodocus, and he was named Doc. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, Littlefoot was like really intrigued by Doc, and then like Littlefoot noticed that Doc had like a scar across his eye also, just like the lone dinosaur did. And it was like Doc revealed that he had been to the Great Valley before, so he was very familiar with it. And then that just led to Littlefoot then believing that Doc was the lone dinosaur, and it's never actually revealed if Doc actually is the lone dinosaur or not in this film. So yeah, I guess it just like leaves a question left unanswered for us to just kind of assume whether or not he is. And then Littlefoot just ended up like telling his friends about Doc and how Doc is the lone dinosaur. Yeah. And then yeah, Littlefoot was then just like narrating like another legend to just support his what he believed, and then like he was just singing that lone dinosaur song. Yeah. And then once like Littlefoot brought up Sorus Rock, and Dinah and Dina like were just like got Sarah angry, she just told them to just get lost, and like then Dinah and Dina just ended up like just headed off to Sorus Rock unnoticed by any of the other kids. Yeah, and I should also like say that in this film, whenever Dinah and Dina speak, they just kind of speak in like a gibberish baby kind of language, but apparently Ducky could actually understand what they were saying, so she would end up like translating what Dinah and Dina would say. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the kids then like ended up like not noticing that Dinah and Dina were missing until the very next day. And then they then went out to find them. Yeah. And then yeah, they eventually like came to the conclusion that Dinah and Dina were actually headed to Sorus Rock. Yeah. And then as they went off to Sorus Rock to try to save them, it then like was showing that Dinah and Dina were ended up like being followed by an Allosaurus, or that was trying to eat them. Yeah. Then eventually, like Littlefoot and the others then like found Dinah and Dina, but they also ended up like finding the sharp tooth eventually, and then like they then like saw that Dinah and Dina were at the top of Sorus Rock, and so they tried to climb up to save them. But then like eventually, Dinah and Dina ended up like falling down from the top of the rock, but they landed onto Sarah. But it also like caused like one of the pieces of the rock that was like one of the pieces of the sharp teeth, if the was then like broke off. Yeah. And then they ended up like being chased by the sharp tooth again, and then they eventually like were hiding in a log, but then like the sharp tooth then just like was like tried to go after eat the log, and then it eventually like caused the log to basically like form a bridge over a gorge, and then like the kids were all able to get out, but then as the sharp tooth was like trying to follow them, the log ended up like breaking, and due to the Allosaurus's weight, and so yeah, then the Allosaurus ended up just like falling supposedly to its death. Yeah. But then once they got home, like Sarah's father then like just like heard that Dinah and Dina ended up like running away, and he like ended up like scolding Sarah because yeah, it was her responsibility, of course, to watch Dinah and Dina. And then yeah, he was just like really angry at Sarah and just basically telling her that she still needed to be watched herself. But then, like, it showed that over the next few days, due to what happened to Sorus Rock, then, like, was showing that there were, like, incidents of bad luck that were going on all over the Great Valley. It was, like, showing that, like, not Littlefoot, Ducky, Petrie, and I think also Sarah, well, no, Ducky, Spike, and Sarah, ended up, like, being stung by bees. And then, like, there were just, like, other forms of bad luck that were hitting the valley. And then eventually then like showed that a tornado ended up hitting the valley. And Littlefoot was like over with Doc talking to him, and Doc was protecting Littlefoot from the tornado. Yeah. And then yeah, after like Littlefoot's grandpa found Littlefoot, he thanked Doc for protecting Littlefoot again. Yeah. But then and like the other adults of the Great Valley then were like starting to place blame on Doc for all the misfortunes that were going on in the Great Valley, because they all have occurred ever since Doc arrived. Yeah. But yeah, Littlefoot then was just telling his friends that they were the ones responsible for the bad luck because of Sorus Rock breaking. And then Littlefoot then just wanted to fix his mistake, so he then tried to fix Sorus Rock, and so then he went back to the gorge where the sharp tooth fell, and then like he was just his intentions were to just like replace the broken stone with an actual sharp tooth's teeth, well, with a tooth from an actual sharp tooth, to put in place. And then it eventually, like, yeah, it was like, this kind of, like, was a bit of an homage to the first film, because it was, like, little showed them like around a supposedly dead Sharptooth, but eventually like the Allosaurus ended up like waking back up, and then yeah, he then like ended up like chasing Littlefoot, but then Littlefoot was then like being pursued by another Sharptooth, and then yeah, Sarah, Ducky, Peachy, and Spike then just came to Littlefoot's grandpa and told him where Littlefoot was, and so then they all set off to Sorus Rock to save Littlefoot. And then as Littlefoot was being chased by the other Sharptooth that once again like was pretty much like look exactly like the Sharptooth from the first film and Chomper's dad. Yeah. Then like Littlefoot's grandpa then arrived and then was fighting off the Sharptooth, but then yeah, the Allosaurus thing came back. But then yeah, Doc also ended up arriving, and so then Littlefoot's grandpa and Doc ended up fighting off the two sharp teeth. And then they eventually like pulled down like some rocks and ended up like crushing the two sharp teeth to death. But then like it showed them that there was one tooth that ended up being like busted out of the Allosaurus's mouth, and then yeah, they ended up like using the tooth to put in place of the broken piece of Sorus Rock, then fixing it. And then it then just showed then Doc then leaving, but he like before he did, he just told Littlefoot that he already had a hero to depend on, which was of course like his grandpa. And then it just as Littlefoot looking back towards his grandpa, it then like showed then Doc leaving. Yeah. And then as they were like heading back home, Littlefoot was just asking his grandpa if the bad luck was over. Yeah, they then like Littlefoot's grandpa was just like telling Littlefoot that there really isn't any such thing as bad luck, but there really isn't any harm making sure. Yeah. And then yeah, Littlefoot then just thanked his grandpa for being like his hero. Yeah. And then the movie just ended with Littlefoot and Sarah just like telling the Lone Dinosaur legend to some more kids, but this time like they had like Littlefoot's grandpa be in place of the lone dinosaur. So, yeah, yeah, I just ended with like Littlefoot's grandpa narrating that the legend would be like changed through like the next generations and stuff, and so yeah, then that's how it ended. So, yeah, like I said, 2.5 stars out of 4. I mean, yeah, it's really like, yeah, as I said, not really one of my favorites, but yeah, not like a terrible film. Like, yeah, if you're a fan of Western, then you'll probably like this film more than I did. But yeah, so yeah, I really I guess you can watch this just fine, but yeah, if you choose not to, I mean, you're really not missing out on anything. So yeah, so yeah, worth a watch, but yeah, it definitely won't hurt you if you don't see it. So yeah, that's really just yeah, that's my take on it. Really, just yeah, I guess like watch it if you want, but yeah, you don't really yeah, it's not really anything that will like break your heart if you don't see it. Alright, so yeah, alright, so that does it for my review of Land Before Time 7, Secret of Sorus Rock. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.